Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome back to Salina. This is going to be a controversy. So we're taking this pressure tank up north to Ogden. Yeah, so let's get rolling, and we'll start with the whole Salina thing. Flashers off, brake is off, let's hop inside. Where are we going? We're going to the right. Alright. I'm going to swing out just a little bit to the left so we clear that fence. So yeah, we'll start there. Salinas. So there's Salinas, California. There's Salina, Kansas. And right between the two in Utah is Salinas. Funny thing about American English is it's made up of words from other languages, for the most part. There's a lot thrown in there. And so you never know. You never know. I grew up in Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania. Not far from a place called North Versailles. Now, anybody else would say North Versailles. But in Pittsburgh, they say North Versailles. No fancy silent L's for us. And I remember asking my dad about it when I was a kid. And he said, it's a proper noun. A proper noun, when it comes to a proper noun, as far as pronunciation, all bets are off. You say it however you want because it belongs to somebody. It's not a word that everybody owns. It's a word that somebody owns. In this case, the residents of North Versailles. They say Versailles, then it's Versailles. Done deal. So Salinas. Who knows? But regardless, we're heading up north. Right. How's everybody doing? It's Friday for me. It's Saturday for you. Off camera. Carefully. Off camera, I did pull the flags and placards off our truck. We're still in our little sort of day cab 389 here. And I did pull the flags and placards off the trailer as well. And I added a couple more axles. But I stuck with the flatbed. Now, this is the second time I started recording this video. I started recording from Scipio, which is just outside of Salinas. And I wanted to pick up some hay bales and take them up to Logan, up on the Idaho line. And by the time I got there to pick them up, the job was gone. I tried to look. I thought we had a few minutes to get there. Turns out we did not. So missed that one. And I took this pressure tank instead. We're not going to Logan now. We're going to Ogden. But no worries. We're still driving in Utah. And it was raining that first video. When I first started recording, it was raining. And that really kind of struck me because it didn't rain for so long. It didn't rain for weeks, I want to say, in this sim. And I really think something was going on in 1.35 as far as the rain probability needed to be tweaked a little bit because I haven't really taken mine up, but it feels like we're at a better percentage now, you know? And God, this frame rate is it's blowing my mind, man. Let me find a good gear here. It really is. It's so smooth. You know, they say the human eye can't really see anything over 60. That over 60, it's just, you know, you just enjoy it yourself. But from 30 to 60, I can really see a difference. It's just so smooth, and it contributes to the immersion, I have to say. For me, it does. I don't know how important it is to you. Below 30 is where I start having problems, right? It's hard for me to get into a game below 30 FPS. But 30 to 60, that's my sweet spot. And it works out well because my machine can render most games that I play 30 to 60 FPS with the settings high to ultra. So I do all right. All right. Okay, I think we're rolling. Yeah, we're rolling. It won't take us long to get there. It's like 170 miles, so it'll take probably 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll go from there. Right, what happened in gaming this week? What is going on? I didn't get a chance to tell you about this really last week, because I ended up recording that video twice as well. But Death Stranding released last week, and we'll see how that goes. It's a controversial game, both in its content and in its execution. The game itself, it's a Hideo Kojima game. There were some other projects that he had, I guess, on the horizon. and they got canceled. They fell through. They didn't work out. So he's got this Death Stranding, highly anticipated. People have been waiting for it for years. I'm watching somebody play it. I'm not playing it myself, and it's out there, man. It's way out. It's way out. And I may have said this already. If I'm repeating myself, I do apologize. I don't know if it's generational, cultural, or something else, just the way Hideo sees the world. But it's out there, man. It's so out there that it's difficult for me to get into it. But I'm really going to try to force myself to get into it because it feels like an important work. You know, if we're trying to look at it artistically, I may never play it, but I at least want to know it and understand it because it could be kind of a benchmark in gaming. We'll see. We'll see. And there's also talk of Game of the Year, although some people are giving it like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. We'll see. And then the other thing that dropped just a couple days ago, which I will also not get, but I'm really enjoying watching other people play it, is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And that's a little bit different. That's a tricky one as well because the Star Wars universe is so ingrained in our collective consciousness, not just as Americans, but all over the world. I mean, for what, 40 years now? Sir, I see you back there. For 40 years now, the Star Wars universe has been such a part of all of our lives. And to make a video game, it reminded me of Arkham Asylum in, as far as the gameplay itself, it's got a similar look to Arkham Asylum and Spider-Man and some other recent games. And what I was thinking as I was watching it was, it's got to be a big ask for a developer to make a Star Wars game because everybody's got an idea of what Star Wars looks like or should look like, how the characters would move, how they would talk, right? A lot of things. And much like Arkham Asylum, you know, people have strong ideas about Batman. And when you're making a movie, I don't know, I don't want to say you're off the hook, but I guess it's expected that when you watch a movie, you're going to be watching somebody else's idea of this or that, right? But when you're playing a video game, that becomes an extension of yourself. And so I think it is in some ways more critical that people be able to relate to gameplay than to watching a movie. Because watching a movie, I guess, is more passive, whereas playing a video game is more active. And with video games being so immersive the past 4 or 5 years, and with being able to, you know, build out your character and really do things that are important to you, skill trees, and you know what I mean? Even designing and building your character in some games. Make a character that looks like you, or make a character that looks the way you want it to look. Yeah. Well, obviously you're not going to do that in something like Fallen Order. You're going to play as a character. But you see what I'm getting at? It's more interpretive. And so I think the margin for error is smaller with a video game when you're trying to make one that is based on a franchise with the cultural baggage that Star Wars has. So it's tricky for me to watch it because in some ways it's just a generic hack and slash video game. Instead of a sword, you got a lightsaber. But there's, you know what I mean? I'm not feeling connected to the Star Wars universe when I'm watching it. So I'm going to let it play for another few episodes, and it certainly has nothing to do with the quality of the person that I'm watching play it. I feel like they're totally solid. It's the game itself. And, you know, when it comes to reviewing a game like that, I think that's tricky also because it's like reviewing a movie. You know, if you're reviewing a movie and the subject matter is something that you're really not about, it's difficult to distance yourself from that and review the movie objectively for its quality rather than for how it makes you feel about the subject matter. And so I think as people are reviewing this Fallen Order game, it's going to be tricky for them to separate their feelings for how well the game captures the Star Wars universe versus how well the game functions as a game. So we'll see. But I'm hearing talk about Game of the Year for that as well. We'll see. I want to say, I mean, these aren't titles that I'm totally into, but I want to say the the most highly regarded Star Wars video game is from like 2014 or 2013 or something. That's the one that they've never been able to top. So curious how it all plays out. But that is new this week. There's a new DLC for Train Sim World, the BR Class 3 one. I'm really enjoying that. It's that Tees Valley DLC is a fun one. I like the era. I like the look of it. And it's I have to say that the game Train Sim World is filling out in a way that I'm really, really liking. And what I'm noticing is, so you go to regional DLCs. The game is broken into areas, and each area is typically a single DLC. So the Long Island Railroad is a DLC, and then don't flip the truck. Oi! Those turns, man. I wish they were a little better marked. But I suppose that's on me as well. So, so you pick an area, and now within the area, they're beginning to add equipment DLC to those different areas. So Tees Valley, I believe, now has the equipment that comes with it, and then it's also got several add-on locos. So it's cool to pick an area and then drop down to the next menu and be able to slide that bar back and forth and really have kind of a range of locos to drive. And the weather, I think, has come up and improved. The people walking around on the platforms look better. So Train Sim World is coming along, and I think that is intended to be a franchise with some longevity to it. I feel like that is a franchise. It's not something they want you to play for 60 hours and then never touch again. I think it's a franchise they would like you to be playing for years and years to come. And with it being on Unreal, I didn't sound super confident as I said that, but with it being on Unreal now, I think, I'll get my camera back here, I think it's a franchise that can stretch out for 5 years or 8 years. I think it can. And I'm also curious if there's ever going to be a cap. Hang on. I'm curious if there's ever going to be a cap on graphics in the same way that there is a cap on audio. So we've had Dolby 7.1 surround for what, 10 years now, 15 years? Nobody's really pushing the limits on that. Nobody's talking about, Dolby 12.1 or anything. Whoa. We okay? Yeah, we're okay. Are we already in Ogden? No. That can't be. It's only been like 15 minutes. All right. Well, we'll see how far we have to go. I know I'm making a left turn from the right lane, but this thing is kind of ridiculously long. Oh, don't kill somebody on a motorcycle. I mean, really, don't kill anybody, but oh. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna let that slide. I'm thinking about when I used to ride. I don't know if I would do something like that, but I've done some things on a motorcycle that, lane splitting is no joke. Right. What the hell was I talking about? Something. Oh, as far as, is there going to be a limit that we get to? Well, we'll say for FPS. When we get to 120 FPS on 8K, at that point, is it like, all right, we're done. We don't need to, right? Or is it Apple? Yeah, it's Apple that has the Retina screen, where the pixels are smaller than the human eye can detect. There's no need to make them any smaller. They are already too small for the human eye to detect. So save your money, man. And I'm talking about R&D money at Apple. Save your money. There's no need to continue doing research to make those pixels even smaller. And if you can get them then fast enough, there's no need to do any research to make them faster. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Hopefully nobody does the same thing the motorbikes did. So if I go over here and then very quickly crank it back. I'm trying to, yeah, you see what I'm trying to do. I'm curious if gaming will reach the same kind of plateau in a good way. Concentrating. Where we're no longer, I don't want to say we no longer have new levels to get to, but that the levels that we're at are not adequate, that's not the right word for it, but the place that we can get to as far as resolution, as far as speed, etc. There's no point improving them because we would not be able to see the difference. So we'll see if we get to that point. I mean, I'm sure mathematically, technologically, we'll have to. It's just an inevitability. But I'm curious what that would look like. Right, so we'll get this dropped off. I don't know what the yard is going to look like. I don't even know how far we are from the yard. I suspect it's right up here. I mean, Ogden's not that big. We might find a quick job going up to Logan, which is where we were trying to get to in the first place. We'll see. I had no idea it would be this fast. So, where are we at? Yeah, so 16 minutes. We'll get this dropped off. And then maybe we'll take something else if we can find something going to Logan. If not, I don't know. We'll just call it right there. End my week on a high note, or try to. Always trying to. Right, there's our green light. And this thing is 60,000 pounds, so it's not quite light. You know, I'm also noticing, I don't know, I mean, if I had a wish list of things that I would want to see in this game, it would be the same as everybody else's. I would like to see dirt on the trucks. I would like to have to wash the truck periodically. I would like to see working fog lights. That is an absolute mystery to me, particularly on the ATS side. The trucks have fog lights, and it's easy enough to make a light. I mean, that's not terribly difficult to do. Plenty of modders have made bumpers with working fog lights. It's obviously not hard to do, but they don't work. And one explanation, one excuse I've heard is that the game does not have fog. Base game, there is no fog. So there'd be no reason to ever have your fog lights on except to look cool, right? I get that. But it leads to the next thing, which is, when is there going to be weather? Proper weather. Because right now we have rain, but when is there going to be snow and fog and dust storms and that sort of thing? Again, modders have done it. I'm not sure why SCS has chosen, I say chosen, because I think it's been a conscious choice on their part not to include those things in the game. So yes, I would like to see those things. I mean, I know there is a long, long list, and there's actually on the SCS forum. Oh, this is interesting. Is this a nuclear power plant? I suspect it is. On the SCS forum, somewhere in there, there is a features wish list page, and it's actually pretty nice. They're, you know how gamers get, you know how the internet gets. Now, this is going to be tricky. Because I need to, yeah, they're just going to keep going. But I think, okay. Not as bad as I thought. You know how gamers can be, you know how the internet can be, things can get ugly fast. But this is pretty civil. And the list is, for the most part, somebody says, you know, I wish the game had this, and a lot of other people say, oh yeah, I do too. I think the reason the game does not have that is because of this or whatever. The only thing that I've ever seen that is sort of controversial is people talking about manual attaching and manual hoses and that sort of thing, being able to get out of the truck and walk around. And then you see, I don't know, I don't want to quite say trolls, but then you see a certain type of personality get all fired up and say, you know, it's trucking simulator, it's not walking around simulator. Valid, you know, to a point. But, turn signal off, we'll stop at the stop sign. I believe this is a nuclear power plant. Yeah, that looks pretty nuclear to me. It's got this little blighted area out here. Fantastic. So I would like to see that as well. The reason is we spend all this time building these beautiful trucks in the configurator, and then we can only use the sort of pivot camera in photo mode. So I would like to see that. As far as manual hookup, I mean, if you brought the two together, for me, that would be ideal. If it was like a cold, snowy, windy night, and I had to get down out of my truck, right, to finish hooking up the trailer and hook up hoses, right, and walk around and thump tires and that sort of thing. If I had to do all that, I would call that a win. I don't know if that will ever be a part of the game, but I would like to see it be a part of the game. Optional, of course, because certainly there are people that have no interest in doing that, and I can relate. But I would like to see fog lights. We've got so many lights on the front of our DAF, and I don't go crazy. I know people that, you know, they put a light in every single slot. I don't go for that Christmas tree look on my truck. But I know on the RJL Scania you can select, we want to go beyond this barrier or in front of it? We want to go beyond it. On the RJL Scania, I know the slots for fog lights you can select blank, DRL, daytime white, low beam white, high beam white, fog lights. You can put anything in there, and there's two of them, obviously two of them per side. So you can put in like combinations. You can have a DRL and a high beam fog light, all kinds of stuff. So I know it can be done, and if a modder can do it in their spare time for free, surely SCS can do it. So I choose to believe that there's a specific reason why they are not including fog lights on the trucks, at least at the moment. And perhaps in time, we'll find out why. Chevron. Okay, so this would be a refinery. If we're being immersive, this would be a refinery, not a power plant. But I saw those pressure domes, and for some reason I was thinking of reactor containment buildings. Now, I know this yard. You don't see this yard a lot, but I know this yard, and this is going to be tricky to get this in here, if we can get it in here at all. And I'm going to have a look, and then I may, like I said, I'm getting ready to start my weekend, and I may, you know what I'm saying? Discretion is the better part of valor. No, I think we can do that, because we've got all this headroom over here in front of us and to the left. Yeah, I believe we can do this. All right, here we go. I'm gonna give it like 2 swings, and then I'll back out of it. I'm not gonna make you sit here and watch me hack at this for 10 minutes. Right. Get her in reverse. Here we go. And I think we've got, sure do, get that lift axle up. That's another thing. Nobody's ever given me a definitive answer on lift axles on the trailer and the truck. Do they impact turning circle at all? And on the truck side, do they impact traction at all? So straighten it out just a little bit, like so. And now I think we got it. That worked out way easier than I thought it would. And it took us so long to get through this facility. We're closing in on 30 minutes, so no need to pick up another cargo. Although I'll either deadhead up to Logan and pick up something to take south then, like to Salt Lake City, or we'll go from here, Ogden, up to Logan, and go from there. Put it in neutral. Set the brake. Engine is off. Let's unload and see how we did. There we are. No damage, no tickets. Fantastic. We're working our way up. Beautiful, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portal Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.